Hi everybody, how you all doing? What amazing video I have for you today, and I say that because I think this is the best video I will have done to date for one simple reason. Someone else is going to do the talking. So obviously from Barcelona, most people at this stage are probably aware that Allianz Pay, what was deemed to be something that could never be done, something where a cryptocurrency could be spent around the world using a card and eventually a phone, that this simply couldn't be achieved by a company that was working through a credit card or through cryptocurrency. Most of the world said this would never happen. The bottom line is this has happened. We have a card now, a virtual card to begin with, that is being rolled out across the world. It is already being able to be used. It has been used in countries right across the world, including Canada, America, right across as far as China, and many countries in between. It's up and running. We are the most accepted cryptocurrency worldwide, bar none. There is nothing coming near what we've got. This has been done. How is it being achieved? What is it? And what's coming down the tracks? Why is there Allianz Pay and what are Allianz Pay, and why is there now a new Daspay? Well, who better to explain this than the person who was responsible for bringing Carta worldwide to the Dascoin table? This guy needs no introduction. However, I'm still going to introduce him for the few people who may not know who he is. This guy has a 20-year capital market experience. He's co-launched the largest foreign exchange company. He co-managed 1 trillion in risk management. He's been interviewed by most of the biggest financial channels around the world. He's has been an Asian corporate bank for 4 years. He and is the one, I suppose, the most important part in the context of this video is the person who brought Carta worldwide to the Dascoin table, none other than Blair Baker. With that, just to mention Carta Worldwide for the people who may not know, to introduce those, Carta Worldwide are the company who created the mobile payment solution for Apple Pay, for the biggest company in the world, Apple. They created VodaPay for Vodafone. They created the mobile payment solution for Uber. They created the first, with PayPal, the first mobile payment solution ever created was done in 2012 in Paris on Carta Worldwide's technology. So these guys are the best in the business. Blair is the best in his space. Together, they're unstoppable. And I think when you see this video, you'll know what I mean. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen and play this video to you that we recorded just earlier. And here we go. If that will just expand for me. Here we are. Over to the great Blair. Hi Blair, really brilliant to have you on the call, and I'm going to get straight into it. Allianz Pay, it was a momentous occasion in Barcelona. We had the release of Allianz Pay, but over to you. Can you explain to us what Allianz Pay is and how it works?
Sure, Vivian, thank you for being with you. It's good to see you on the Crab Nebula or Milky Way, wherever you are today. Somewhere close by, I think. So Allianz Pay, as you said, was launched in Barcelona this weekend. Allianz Pay represents a comprehensive payment solution. We said several months ago that we would have a payment solution functioning by the Barcelona event. We accomplished that. So Allianz Pay started off as a virtual card solution. So we have a number of people who have already received virtual cards. A virtual card, a different way of describing that is a digital card. It has the 16-digit card number, it has the expiry date, and it has the 3-digit CVC number that we would typically find on the back of a card. So those are live active cards. The cards that have been issued expire, for instance, in 2020. So it's just like having a piece of plastic card. We have launched this as a virtual card product, and it will be made available to approximately 500 persons. All of those persons are members in the ecosystem. Those persons will need to satisfy the KYC requirements of the card issuer. So there's a process in place whereby those existing KYC data on file are being shared with the card issuer to make sure that their compliance is done. So it's normal KYC requirements, etc. So when these card programs get issued, it's very common for them to scale at a deliberate pace. For instance, one of our technology partners, Carta Worldwide, they run very, very large card programs, process card programs for very large recognizable clients around the world. So, for instance, one of these card programs has millions and millions and millions of users in their network. These are users that this particular client of theirs wants to have using cards. Well, even in that large environment where there are millions of potential users, these card programs scale at a very deliberate pace for a multitude of reasons. One of those reasons relates to risk management. Simply stated, when you open a new card program, you have a lot of fraudsters out there who try to attack the card program. They try to attack the PIN. So one of the many responsibilities of a processor, a company like Carta Worldwide, is to work to mitigate that fraud. They don't want people trying to use these cards in a fraudulent manner. I mean, third-party fraudsters. So what we did last week is we actually launched this new program. It was done on time, and the first transactions have taken place, whereby the store of value that is represented in Dascoin has been converted to fiat currency and then utilized at online retailers for e-commerce all over the world. So to date, transactions have been done, and transactions are settling in US dollars, they're settling in Canadian dollars, they're settling in British pounds, they're settling in Chinese renminbi, euro, etc. So these are all very positive things that are taking place, because it evidences the fact that Dascoin can be exchanged and utilized with various currencies, with various fiat. That's something I've been talking about for more than a year and a half, since the third quarter of 2016. So we're now at that point. So that convertibility that is taking place between Dascoin and fiat is a major accomplishment. That is powering real world transactions. These are not just online speculative, let's trade on a cryptocurrency exchange transactions. These are powering real world merchant transactions. Some of the people, as we all saw in Barcelona, who were among the first people selected out of the 500 people, successfully have used those cards successfully, powering real world transactions, merchant transactions. Those retailers include Amazon, they include Walmart, they include online retailers in China, very large recognizable Chinese names such as Amazon.cn. So this is very validating point in many regards. Number one, it shows that the payment technology that I personally have been talking about since 2016 works. It's operational, it's successful. So great kudos to our ecosystem for being the first cryptocurrency in the world to leverage and take advantage of this excellent technology. Number two, it's also a major validating point for our blockchain technology. So our technology partner had to install a ledger node of the DOSNet blockchain in order to have visibility into the processes that are involved in administering this card program. So that relates to things like credit transactions, debit transactions, validating user identities. So the DOSNet blockchain is integrally involved in managing some of these processes, as is Das Wallet. And again, it's a major validating point that evidences the fact that this DOSNet blockchain technology that we have is now powering a card payment program, a payments card program, unlike any other that we've seen so far in the industry. So the fact that this third-party technology is working very cohesively and successfully with our DOSNet blockchain technology is a very important point. So we're at the point now where we will start onboarding additional people from that group of 500 persons. And then thereafter, physical cards will follow. At the current estimate, we think that'll probably be about 6 to 8 weeks from now. So we started off with virtual cards. We will then follow that up with physical cards. And then we want to administer this pilot, this proof of concept. It's important to underscore the fact that this is a proof of concept. This is a pilot because we need to, for several reasons. Number one, we need to validate the technology. Number two, we need to make sure that there's a commensurate amount of liquidity in the market. In other words, we need to match fiat liquidity against Dascoin liquidity. Number three, we need to make sure that those risks I talked about a little bit earlier are mitigated. We want to make sure those fraud risks are successfully managed so that those fraudsters do not attack the card program in the bin where this is taking place. So there are several reasons why our processor, our program manager, will work to scale these at a very reasonable pace. We want to make sure that as many of the 500 people as possible have access to experience this in real time. Some of the people who were up on stage with me in Barcelona just a few days ago have since written back to me saying they've now successfully conducted several transactions. They're buying several things from several different retailers. We're able, of course, to see these transactions taking place on the processing side. And of course, we see a corresponding debit from Das Wallet. So it's working in a very synchronized manner. It's working exactly as we laid out in the proof of concept document, the scoping document, etc. I want to give a very, very big, extreme big thank you, a lot of heartfelt gratitude on behalf of many in our ecosystem. In fact, I think on behalf of the entire ecosystem, if I may, I want to give a lot of thanks to our Belgrade-based team. These are people that we acknowledge from time to time at our events, but I can tell you that they worked extremely tirelessly to bring this proof of concept, this pilot to fruition, and a very successful fruition in fact. I also want to give an extreme amount of thanks to our contacts, our colleagues over at Carta. The things that they did to bring this proof of concept and pilot to life in a relatively small window of time is also very, very encouraging. And the two teams have worked very, very successfully, very collaboratively. There's been a lot of cooperations. We've had numerous meetings, as you would expect, very, very long meetings. There's instant dialogue that's ongoing. When we encounter a problem, for instance, we're able to troubleshoot it very efficiently and very quickly. So we're extremely grateful to everyone involved. That's worth mentioning probably first and foremost. So for months, we talked about Daspay as being the silver bullet. And one of the things that I talked about on stage is given the fact that we have successfully launched Alliance Pay, let's kind of recalibrate our thinking a little bit regarding Daspay. So Alliance Pay is now live and will scale at an appropriate and reasonable pace. So let's think of that perhaps as the silver bullet. Moving forward, let's think about Daspay as the golden bullet, if you will. So as we talked about on stage, we have the opportunity, if the ecosystem wants it, we have the opportunity to have a proprietary payment network, payment acceptance scheme launched. What that means is essentially a solution whereby merchants all over the world will have the ability to actually accept Dascoin and perhaps even other tokens directly as a medium of exchange. So Visa and MasterCard are networks that we call payment acceptance networks or payment acceptance schemes. So our technology partner has the ability to configure and activate a global solution that does not run on proprietary point of sale technology, existing legacy technology, excuse me. It runs on proprietary technology such as tablets and mobile devices. So if you were to walk into a merchant who is using this application on a mobile device, it can be Android, it can be iOS, it can be Apple, doesn't matter, and the person wants to accept Dascoin directly, they will have the ability to accept Dascoin directly as a medium of exchange. So if I were a consumer, a buyer, and you were a merchant at a physical store, and you say Dascoin is what I want to accept, you and I could execute a transaction contactlessly, my mobile device to your mobile device. If we were both using Android, that transaction would be communicated through NFC. If we were both using iOS, that transaction would be communicated through iBeacon. And if we were using a combination of Android and iOS, that transaction would be executed using a QR code, for instance. So it's the contactless transaction. It allows would allow Dascoin to be accepted at merchants all over the world very organically, very directly. So it's a great solution. The processes involved relate to very advanced intellectual property that are controlled by some of our friends who attended the event on Saturday. Moreover, the processes involved go way beyond that. We have the ability, for instance, to link other types of card products, existing card products, to this solution. We can link bank accounts. We can basically digitally enable any cryptocurrency in the world. So suffice to say that the technology is there, and it'll be a business decision made by the ecosystem as to how we want to operate this network that was talked about on stage on Saturday. So I'm extremely excited. We have 8 or 9 months to get this configured and going. I'm extremely happy to this is something I've had in the back of my mind now for about 15 months, this so-called golden bullet relating to Daspay. So I'm extremely happy that that's now entering a phase where it's execution time. So if we think about Alliance Pay maybe as the silver bullet and Daspay as the golden bullet, I would even use the analogy that Alliance Pay is a drop in the ocean, and Daspay is every body of water in the world, to use a very rudimentary analogy. So it's potentially a game changer. When you look at what's really gone on in the payment space in this industry, people have kind of come up to the line as far as these payment cards and wanting to digitally enable some of these digital assets and cryptocurrencies to be used in these types of environments. But I've yet to see the entire payments infrastructure that is both merchant-facing and client-facing. I've yet to see that anywhere else other than the solution that we're talking about here. Another reason why this is very important is because the solution works to mitigate fraud. The piece of plastic, whether it's a physical card and or a virtual card that can be used as part of this payment acceptance scheme, my 16 digits never get pushed over to you as the merchant. Those 16 digits simply go over to the payments processor. The payments processor processes the transaction. They provide a real-time confirmation to you, Vivian, as the merchant, that the payment has been processed, the funds are available, and the payment is effected. So there's settlement and reconciliation that takes place beyond that. So fraud is mitigated. That risk is eliminated in this environment. And one of the beautiful things here is that when you think about using, let's say, a Visa or MasterCard card product, we have the interchange, let's say that merchant discount rate is earned by somebody. So when you think about the business model that is involved in this solution, that interchange, that merchant discount rate has the ability to be earned by somebody in this solution. So the benefits to the ecosystem, as it were, can be significant. You know, those monies do not necessarily need to be paid to Visa or MasterCard. When you think about the fact that we can charge merchants less money to conduct basically the same type of transaction, a very similar type of transaction, you can see that we actually have a competitive advantage over Visa and MasterCard in many regards. So this is an interesting solution that we have, and I'm very confident that once a business decision is made by the ecosystem, I'm very confident that the deliverable regarding the technology we talked about will be well received.
Holy God, first of all, Blair, you're making my job really hard dragging all those answers out of you, and that was amazing. But to just go back a step, so basically Alliance Pay has changed the game, and it's been delivered. Literally, we're just waiting for physical cards now, but the product is there. We have proof of concept it's working and working throughout the world. So that is game changing and has been achieved. The cards will come. But what you've just described there as the new version of Daspay is is nuts. I mean, it's our own platform, it's our own money platform where we have complete control, and it's faster, cheaper, and more secure.
Yeah, and when you think about the fact that there is this huge network involved in the ecosystem, there's a great group of people all over the world who are working to build value for stakeholders. You know, they're working very, very collaboratively and cooperatively and creating a lot of value. So if you think about the potential incentivization of not only the merchants, but incentivizing the boots on the ground, you know, the real people doing a lot of the heavy lifting, such as yourself and many, many others across the ecosystem. You know, it's kind of a self-reinforcing proposition, because the more merchants who want to accept this type of proprietary payments network, where the fees can be considerably less, and are also incentivized to accept an asset such as Dascoin, that means greater liquidity, greater velocity of money, greater spending, all of these things that can benefit each and every person who holds Dascoin. So the advocate system, the customer network, all of these people, all of these groups of individuals can be strongly incentivized to see this come to fruition and attain significant global success. So our ambition, our objectives are well aligned in that regard.
Truly amazing. One thing I really noticed from both the presentation of Carta and yourself, and again getting the opportunity to speak to Brian and yourself again, and Remy, was their absolute dedication to our project. It's not a one-way going, please help us. It's very intertwined, and they are completely committed, which is of course nice to see.
So those gentlemen had an amazing vision back in 2007. You know, they executed on that vision. You know, they're the co-founders of that Carta team. They successfully executed on that vision, and they've driven and been responsible for the creation, development, and launch of many large card programs around the world, many payment solutions, significant amount of innovation. So we're very thankful to them. We're very thankful to their colleagues at Carta. We're very thankful that processing is now taking place all over the world. And the important point is, as they relayed it to us on stage and in private, is that there is a lot of additional innovation left to be done. And they are very, very interested in working very closely with us to provide and avail that innovation to our ecosystem.
Amazing, Blair, absolutely amazing. I really have to thank you for those unbelievable response, for really filling us in on what's going on, for explaining what Alliance Pay is, and the level. I was talking about Alliance Pay being here and Daspay being here. I think Daspay is out there. It's out of this world, and it's that is truly. I was blown away in Barcelona. I'm more blown away now. That is absolutely incredible. When you add that into the mix, which of course is game changing, and throw DAS33 and exchanges that we're going to be launching on very shortly, and the wider picture, as I said, coming home from Barcelona, the big picture just got bigger. We truly are in the right place at the right time. So Blair, huge thanks to you for spending this time with me and for the wider community. Really appreciate it, and look forward to seeing you very shortly.
You know, Viv, thanks. You know, when I was in school, they taught us that there were 9 planets. Then we learned that maybe Pluto is not a planet, and now we're learning, of course, that there are many more planets that we couldn't fathom, decades ago or even years ago. So the opportunities that are presenting themselves are very evolutionary. It's analogous to finding new planets. As we theorize and work on new payments concepts, we've been working on them since 2016. They've now come to fruition in bringing these solutions to market. As we have, new opportunities present themselves, and that's essentially what Daspay represents. It's something that I've had in the back of my mind now for 15 months, and in close consultation with the ecosystem and our technology partners over the past several days, that vision is now coming to fruition. So extremely excited stuff. I'm sure we'll be discovering new planets and things, celestial bodies in space, and I'm sure we'll be just learning about new opportunities and payments as it relates to this. We're doing unprecedented stuff here that's never been done in the blockchain space. I can tell you that. We all look at a lot of the news headlines and who's trying to do what, etc. We have some major competitive advantages that we will have the opportunity to roll out and address. Think about, Vivian, the number of existing payment cards that are out there. We're talking billions of individual unique sets of credentials that are out there. So again, it's not a technology decision, it's a business decision. But there's a technology solution where those billions of sets of unique card credentials belonging to third parties can be used at this under this proprietary payments network that we're talking about. So rather than excluding the existing payments industry, we're actually talking about an all-encompassing solution where we can integrate those existing networks, but also use Dascoin and other crypto assets in conjunction with them to power this very innovative solution. So it's very gratifying seeing these things come together in real time.
It truly is amazing, Blair. Thank you so much for reading on that. And yeah, I think we can safely say it's stellar. So thanks very much, Blair, and speak to you very soon. Yeah. So if that isn't a blow me away video that Blair just did there, I really don't know what is. Let's look at how big this really is. So we're talking about Alliance Pay. The world said it couldn't be done. The crypto world most definitely said it couldn't be done. We now have that working. That solution is in place and has been proven to work. I've seen the actual transactions happening myself. So that's done. Yes, the cars need to come, and yes, they're on the way. That's amazing. But now we're looking at a whole new level with regards to Daspay. Anyone that was wondering why they changed the original Daspay solution to Alliance Pay is simply because Daspay has got a whole new world in front of it. As Blair said there, it's game-changing stuff. Alliance Pay changed the game. The world said it couldn't be done. Now let's wait for them to say that this can't be done. They will say that, but it's going to be achieved. We have the people with the capabilities and the technology ready to go, and it's going to be about making this all interconnect and work. So this is game-changing. We always spoke about, when we have a payment solution like what Alliance Pay is now, that makes us the most accepted cryptocurrency in the world. We're there right now. That's where we are, the most accepted cryptocurrency in the world. Bitcoin was the market leader. It did a great job. It brought it to the market, but it's still in the 400, 500,000 places where you can spin the bracket. No other cryptocurrency is anywhere near that. We now have a solution where you can spin at 50, 60 million merchants worldwide, including ATM machines and all the rest. Game changing. It's done. Do we understand how big this is? Then we speak about the likes of Ethereum and a brilliant platform. We have DAS33. It's coming in a matter of months. Yeah, of course, we'd love to have seen it in Barcelona, but it's coming. It's nearly there. It could actually have been launched, but because Michael wants everything done 100% and abiding by regulation that's there, he made that really difficult call to put that back by a month or two. It's the right decision. You have to protect the enormity of what we're